Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Today we discuss authoritative implementation tool. So first we discuss substantive authoritative instrument. There are many types of authoritative instrument, all involve and rely primarily on the ability of government to direct or steer target in the direction they would prefer them to go through the use of the real or perceived threat of state enforced sanctions. The use of the coercive power of the state to achieve government goals through the control or alteration of societal and governmental behavior is the essence of regulation. Rules take various forms and include standards, permits, prohibitions, and executive orders. Some regulations, like ones dealing with criminal behavior, are laws and involve the police and judicial system in their enforcement. So first is direct government regulation. What is direct government regulation in substantive authoritative instrument? So now we discuss this. What is direct government regulation? Regulation is a fundamental technique or tool of legal governance, although citizens may not always be aware of their presence. Among other things, regulations govern the price and standard of a wide variety of goods and services they consume, as well as the quality of water they drink and the air they breathe. This type of instrument is often referred to as command and control regulation, since it typically involves the government issuing a command to some target group in order to control their behavior. Control are Control also sometimes refer to the need for government to monitor and enforce target group activity in order for a command to be effective. Now we discuss law. What is law? Law is an important tool of modern government and the very basis of legal modes of governance. Size type of legal instrument which can be used by government when they wish to invoke their authority to try to direct societal behavior. Statutes, delegated legislation between level of government, decision of regulatory bodies and courts, contract or treaties, quasi legislation such as tax notice and interpretative bulletin, reference documents such as background papers, other legislation, standing orders, etc. Next heading, we discuss Independent Regulatory Commission. Direct administrative implementation of legislative rule is a very common in legal mode of governance. Check on administrative discretion usually exist through the court system, whereby those who feel they have been unfairly treated can often appeal administrative decision and seek their overturn. However, in the economic realm, especially, it often raises concerns about corruptions and that is in the abuse of administrative discretion to either ace enforcement in certain cases, or administer it capriciously in others. The most well known of these is the Independent Regulatory Commission, or RC, used in corporatist mode of governance. Now we discuss indirect government regulation. A third form of regulation is indirect regulation, which is very compatible with corporatist mode of governance. Next heading we discuss delegated professional regulation. Delegated regulation typically involves legislature passing special legislation empowering specific group to define their own membership and regulate their own behavior. This is a relatively rare form of regulatory activity which occur when a government transfers its authority to license certain practices and disciplines transgressors to non-governmental or quasi-governmental bodies whose board of directors, unlike the situation with independent regulatory commission, they typically do not appoint. Voluntary or incentive regulation. Another form of indirect or self-regulation has a more recent history than delegated regulation and has been extended to many more areas of social and economic life. This is typically a form found in market governance system in which, rather than establish an agency with the authority to unilaterally direct target to follow some course of action with the ability to sanction those actors who fails to comply. Instead, a government tries to pursue target to voluntarily adopt it or conform to government aims and objectives. Now we discuss types of voluntary regulation. Legislated compliance plan, regulatory exemption programs, government industry negotiated agreement, certification challenge program, design partnerships, standard auditing, and accounting. The third heading we discuss market creation and maintenance. Paradoxically, as it might seem from its title, another form of indirect regulatory instrument used by government is the use of co-called market-based instrument. These refer to a particular type of regulatory tool in which government establish property right frameworks or regime which establish various kind of limit or price for certain goods and service and then allow market actor to work within these markets to allow allocate goods and service according to price signals. First we discuss uh, substantive authoritative instrument. Now we discuss what is procedural authoritative instrument. So, procedural authority based instrument typically involve the exercise of government authority to recognize or provide professional treatment, assess or treatment to certain actor and hence to fail to recognize others in the policy process or to mandate certain procedural requirement in the policy making process in order to ensure it takes certain views or perspective into account. So the subtopic in procedural authoritative instrument is policy network activation and mobilization tools. So what is policy network activation and mobilization tools? In terms of network management activities, many procedural authorities tools are involved largely in the selective activation of policy actor, and their mobilization through the extension of special recognition in a policy process. The key use of authority is in the extension of professional access to decision maker or regulators for certain views and actors and not others, or at least to a lesser extent. So there are some points of policy network activation and mobilization tool. So first is action undertaken by procedural authoritative instrument. The second point is problem identification. Third is mobilizing interest spanning and bridging activities. Fourth is calm making. Fifth is knowledge acquisition. Fourth is convening and deliberating, and seven is community capacity building, and the last one is transparency evaluation and feedback. Now we discuss advisory council. Advisory council are the best example of procedural authoritative instrument and are very common in market and corporatist governance arrangement. These are more or less permanent bodies established to may provide advice to government, either political, executive, or administrative, on an ongoing basis. They are often established on a sectoral, for example, industry specific, such as an automobile trade advisory committee basis, but also can be topical, for example, biomedical ethic. So there are 8 main types of advisory committee commonly found in um, mobilization no sorry uh, modern liberal government. So here we discuss general advisory committee. Next is science and technology advisory committee. Third is special clientele advisory committee. Fourth is research advisory committee. Fifth is public conference. Seventh is geographic based advisory committee, and the second last one is in governmental advisory committee, and the last one is interdepartmental committee. So next topic we discuss purpose of advisory board. So first purpose of advisory board is source of advice. Next is a source of support for regulator. Third one is a mean of popularizing a regulatory regime. Fourth is a listening post for industry and government to listen to each other. Fifth one is a mean of reaching agreement and resolving conflict between government and interest. Sixth one is an agency for special inquiries. Seventh is a device for patronage. Eighth purpose is eighth purpose of advisory group is a set of ambassadors for an administrative agency. So in last we discuss public, and these processes has been expanded to include participation in the design of the consultation process, as well as in making policy recommendation to government, sometimes mandated by legislation. Appropriate level of government will often elicit public involvement in administrative activities such as regulatory monitoring and environmental impact assessment. And in last, we discuss conclusion of authoritative implementation tool. So, the evolution of regulation as a key policy instrument in the toolbox of modern government is non story from the development of the principle of delegated legislation year in the early year of the evaluation of the modern state to the first creation of specialized quasi judicial independent regulatory commission in the United States after the Civil War. The gradual development of bureaucratic expertise and capacity in the social and economic realm is a defining characteristic of the legal and corporatistic modes of governance found in many policy sectors and a central feature in many policy design. So if you understand these notes, please like my video and also comment my video and also share, and don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you.